I scrolled through my phone while Aunt Linda explained why my cousin Kevin's promotion to assistant manager at Target was such an incredible achievement. The whole family had gathered at the garden room for Sunday brunch. Mom, Dad, Aunt Linda, Uncle Jeff, my 3 cousins and Grandma. Everyone except me was celebrating Kevin's $2 per hour raise. Assistant manager at 27. Aunt Linda gushed. He's on the management track now. Real job, real benefits, real future. That's wonderful, Kevin, Mom said warmly. We're so proud of you. Kevin straightened his tie, the same tie he'd worn to his Target interview. Thanks everyone. I've been working really hard. The district manager said I have potential. See, Jennifer? Dad looked at me pointedly. That's what dedication looks like. Real work at a real company with a clear career path. I kept my eyes on my phone watching Nextcore Technologies pre-market trading. We were up 18% ahead of today's acquisition announcement. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. Jennifer, put that phone away, Grandma said sharply. Your cousin is sharing important news. Show some respect. I slipped the phone into my purse. Sorry. Congratulations, Kevin. What were you doing anyway? Uncle Jeff asked. Still playing around with that computer stuff? I was checking some work emails. Work emails, Dad said with a bitter laugh. Jennifer's been working on her computer for 6 years now. Still waiting to see any actual results. Now Tom, that's not fair, Mom said, but her tone suggested it absolutely was fair. Jennifer does something with websites. I run a software company, I said quietly. A software company, Aunt Linda repeated like I'd claimed to be an astronaut. That's very ambitious. But Kevin's taking the practical route. Steady job, steady income, steady advancement. Kevin was making $38,000 a year. My company had generated $2.3 billion in revenue last quarter. The problem with your generation, Uncle Jeff said, pointing his fork at me, is you all want to be entrepreneurs and CEOs. You think you're too good for regular jobs. Meanwhile, Kevin here is building real success the old-fashioned way. Through hard work and dedication, Grandma added. Not chasing pipe dreams. I'd founded Nextcore Technologies 6 years ago with 2 MIT classmates. We'd built enterprise cybersecurity software that protected corporate networks from sophisticated attacks. Our first client had been a regional bank. Our second had been the Department of Defense. We now served 1,400 corporate clients across 43 countries, including 12 of the Fortune 50. Last year we'd gone public. Current market cap, $47 billion. And this morning at 11 a.m., we were announcing our acquisition of CyberShield International, a $8.2 billion deal that would make Nextcore the largest pure-play cybersecurity company in the world. Jennifer's always been stubborn, Dad said. We tried to talk sense into her after college. Get a job at Microsoft, IBM, somewhere stable. But no, she had to try the startup thing. How's that going, by the way? Aunt Linda asked with fake concern. Are you making any money yet? We're doing okay. Okay isn't good enough. Dad's voice rose. You're 32 years old. You should be established by now. Look at Kevin, he has health insurance, a 401k, paid vacation. What do you have? A net worth of $12.4 billion, according to this morning's Forbes update. But who's counting? I have benefits, I said simply. From what company? Uncle Jeff challenged. Who's paying you? I pay myself. I own the company. Kevin laughed. Own what? The website. Jenny, I'm not trying to be mean, but you need to be realistic. The tech bubble already burst. Those startup dreams don't work out for most people. Exactly. Dad seized on this. Kevin's absolutely right. You're chasing a fantasy while he's building something real. When are you going to accept that and get a serious job? Mom patted my hand sympathetically. Honey, there's no shame in admitting it didn't work out. You tried. That takes courage. But now it's time to grow up and join the real workforce. I checked my watch. 23 minutes until the announcement. I just needed to survive 23 more minutes of this. I heard Jennifer lives in a tiny apartment in the city, Aunt Linda said to Mom. Still renting at her age? We worry about her constantly, Mom confirmed. No husband, no stable job, no property. We don't know where we went wrong. The tiny apartment, was a 4,500 square foot penthouse in Tribeca that I'd purchased for $18 million. I also owned a house in the Hamptons and a condo in San Francisco. But my parents had never visited, never asked for my address, never shown any interest in the details of my life. At least she's not asking us for money, Dad said. Yet. Give it time, Uncle Jeff said. When the computer thing finally fails, she'll come running home. They always do. Grandma nodded sagely. Kevin's the smart one. Steady job, steady girlfriend, steady life. That's real success. Kevin's girlfriend worked at the same Target. They shared a one-bedroom apartment and drove a 2008 Honda Civic. They were good people living a perfectly fine life. But my family had decided Kevin's minimum wage retail management position was superior to my computer work. And no amount of reality would convince them otherwise. Can we please talk about something else? I asked quietly. Like what? Dad challenged. Your failed business. Your lack of prospects. Your complete absence of adult responsibility. Tom, don't be cruel, Mom said. Jennifer's trying her best. She's just not cut out for real success like Kevin. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, my CFO. 10 minutes to announcement. Media embargoed until 11 a.m. Stock up 22% in pre-market. This is going to be huge. Still glued to that phone, Grandma observed. In my day we had manners at the dinner table. I'm sorry, I said, putting it away again. I'm expecting an important call. About what? Aunt Linda asked with barely concealed skepticism. Another website project? Something like that. See, this is the problem, Uncle Jeff said, warming to his theme. Jennifer can't even explain what she does. That's not a real job. A real job, you can describe it in one sentence. Kevin manages a retail team. Simple. Clear. Real. I design and implement enterprise cybersecurity solutions for Fortune 500 companies, I said evenly. Silence. Then Dad laughed. Enterprise cybersecurity solutions? Jennifer, what does that even mean? You're not working with Fortune 500 companies. Stop pretending. I'm not pretending. Yes, you are. You've been pretending for 6 years. Living in fantasy land, making up impressive-sounding job titles, probably telling people you're some kind of tech executive when really you're just... He was interrupted by a commotion at the restaurant entrance. A group of people in business suits had arrived. 12 of them, moving with the kind of purposeful coordination that comes from working together for years. Leading them was Catherine Walsh, CEO of CyberShield International. Behind her were 2 of my board members, our chief legal officer, and 8 other executives involved in today's acquisition. They were walking directly toward our table. Jennifer, Catherine said warmly as they approached. I'm sorry to interrupt your brunch, but given the time sensitivity of this morning's announcement, we thought a face-to-face final confirmation would be appropriate. Every person at my family's table had gone silent. Of course, I said, standing. Everyone, this is Catherine Walsh, CEO of CyberShield International. Catherine, this is my family. Catherine smiled politely at them, then turned back to me. The board approved the final terms at 9 o'clock this morning. The announcement is scheduled for 11. We wanted to confirm you're comfortable with the press release language and the joint statement. I reviewed everything last night. It looks perfect. Excellent. This acquisition is going to reshape the entire cybersecurity industry. NextScore's technology combined with CyberShield's client base? We're looking at market dominance for the next decade. She pulled out a tablet and showed me the press release draft. I read through it quickly, made one small edit and nodded approval. Wait, Dad's voice was faint. What acquisition? Catherine looked at him, then back at me. Your father doesn't know? We don't really discuss my work at family gatherings, I said. Well, perhaps today's a good day to start. Catherine addressed the table. NextScore Technologies, the company Jennifer founded and serves as CEO of, is acquiring CyberShield International in an $8.2 billion transaction. It's one of the largest cybersecurity deals in history. Mom made a small choking sound. Jennifer founded... What? Aunt Linda whispered. NextScore Technologies, Catherine repeated. The largest pure-play cybersecurity company in the world. Market cap of $47 billion. Jennifer owns 34% of the company, making her... She paused, looking at me with slight amusement. Well, one of the wealthiest women in technology. Kevin had gone pale. That's not possible. It's very possible, said Richard Chin, one of my board members, stepping forward. Jennifer's company went public 18 months ago at a valuation of $18 billion. We've grown considerably since then. This acquisition will add another $2 billion in annual revenue to our platform. I don't understand, Grandma said weakly. Jennifer works with computers. She doesn't have a real job. Mrs. Thompson, your granddaughter employs 4,000 people across 23 countries, Catherine said gently. She's testified before Congress on cybersecurity policy. She's advised 3 presidents on digital infrastructure. Forbes ranked her as the 14th most powerful woman in business last year. Uncle Jeff was staring at me like I'd sprouted wings. But you said you were checking emails. I was monitoring our stock price ahead of the acquisition announcement. And confirming details with our legal team about the regulatory filings. Dad's face had gone gray. When you said you own the company, I meant I literally own 34% of a publicly traded corporation worth $47 billion. My personal net worth is approximately $12.4 billion, though it fluctuates with the stock price. The silence at our table was absolute. Catherine checked her watch. 5 minutes to announcement. Jennifer, the press briefing is at noon. We should probably head to the office. Of course. I picked up my purse. Wait. Mom reached for my arm. Jennifer, we didn't know. You never said anything about being a CEO. About being successful. About being wealthy, accomplished, successful. I looked around the table. I tried to tell you. Multiple times over 6 years. You weren't interested. You were too busy praising Kevin's retail management position and telling me to get a serious job. But we thought. Aunt Linda trailed off helplessly. You thought I was a failure. I know. You've made that abundantly clear at every family gathering for the past 6 years. I turned to Kevin. Congratulations again on your promotion. Assistant manager is a real achievement. I'm sure the $2 raise will make a meaningful difference. His face flushed red. Jennifer, please, Dad said, his voice breaking. We didn't understand. We just wanted what was best for you. We wanted you to have stability, security. I have stability. I have security. What I don't have is a family that bothered to ask about my life before judging it. Catherine touched my elbow gently. We really should go. The market's open in 4 minutes. I nodded and turned to leave. Will we see you next Sunday? Mom asked desperately. No. I don't think so. I looked at each of them one final time. Enjoy your brunch. Mom, Dad. When people ask what your daughter does for a living, you can tell them she runs a $47 billion cybersecurity company. Or you can keep telling them she plays with computers. Either way, it won't change the reality. The acquisition announcement hit the wire at exactly 11 a.m. Within minutes, every major business publication had picked up the story. NextCore Technologies acquires CyberShield in $8.2 billion deal. Jennifer Thompson consolidates control of cybersecurity market. Tech's quiet billionaire makes her biggest move yet. My phone exploded with messages. Congratulations from industry colleagues. Interview requests from journalists. Investment proposals from venture capitalists. And 17 missed calls from Dad. 31 texts from Mom. 14 voicemails from various family members. I read the first text from Mom. Jennifer, please call us. We're so sorry. We're so proud of you. We didn't know. Please, we need to talk. I deleted it without responding. Dad's voicemail. Jennifer, I was wrong. I was so wrong about everything. Please forgive me. Please call me back. I'm your father. Please. I saved it but didn't listen to the rest. Aunt Linda sent a Facebook message. Jenny, I had no idea you were so successful. We should get coffee and catch up. I'd love to hear all about your amazing company. I blocked her. 3 days later, the Wall Street Journal ran a feature profile. Jennifer Thompson, the billionaire CEO her family didn't recognize. The article detailed my background, NextCore's growth trajectory, and included quotes from the Sunday brunch. Apparently, someone at the restaurant had overheard everything and shared it with the press. Thompson's family spent years dismissing her technology career as computer work and playing with websites, the article read. Meanwhile, she was building one of the most successful cybersecurity companies in the world. When asked about her family's reaction to her success, Thompson declined to comment. The story went viral. Social media erupted with commentary about families who underestimate their children, about the bias against technology careers, about the specific prejudice against women in tech. Mom called again. I didn't answer. Dad sent an email with the subject line, "I failed you." I read the first line, "I see now how blind I was," and archived it without finishing. Kevin sent a Facebook message, "I never meant to make you feel bad. I'm happy for your success. Congratulations." I appreciated the gesture but didn't respond. Kevin wasn't the problem. He'd never been cruel, just oblivious. It was the family's decision to hold him up as the success story while treating me as a failure that had done the damage. 6 months later, NextScore's post-acquisition integration was complete. Revenue was up 41%. Our client list had expanded to include 23 of the Fortune 50. The stock price had climbed another 32%. I bought a house in Aspen and another in Lake Como. Not because I needed them but because I could. Grandma sent a birthday card in May. Inside she'd written, "We miss you at Sunday brunch. The family isn't the same without you. I'm sorry we didn't see your success. Please come back." I put the card in a drawer and didn't respond. Mom tried one last time in July, showing up at NextScore's headquarters unannounced. Security called me from the lobby. "Tell her I'm in a meeting," I said. "She says it's urgent. That she's your mother and she needs to see you. Tell her I'm in a meeting that will last the rest of my life." I watched from my office window as Mom left the building, her shoulders slumped in defeat. Part of me wanted to feel guilty. Part of me wanted to run down and forgive everything. But the larger part, the part that had endured 6 years of dismissal, mockery and condescension, remembered every Sunday brunch. Every family gathering where they'd praised Kevin's mediocrity while treating my billions as imaginary. Every time Dad had asked when I'd get a serious job. Some betrayals are too complete to forgive. Some relationships break so thoroughly that the pieces can't be reassembled. They'd had 6 years to ask about my work. 6 years to show interest. 6 years to see me as something other than a failure. They'd chosen not to. And now they'd have the rest of their lives to live with that choice. While I lived with mine, which included a $47 billion company, a seat on the Forbes 400, and a family I'd left behind without looking back. Success, I'd learned, was the best revenge. But peace was even better. And I'd found both the moment I stopped needing their validation to know my worth.